Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.
The Sparkfile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Welcome to the Spark File, where we believe that everyone is creative, but smart creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell, and we are creativity coaches who help people fear less, create more, and bring their creative visions to life.
If you're an OG member of the Sparkfile community, welcome back, Sparkler.
If you are joining us for the first time right here at the tail end of season 4, welcome. Welcome, friend. We're so glad you're here.
Know that just by listening to this podcast, you are joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
And you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File?
A Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations.
If you're like us and you're making stuff all the time, or you want to be making stuff all the time, you know if you're not careful, your campfire of creativity can flicker out.
But don't despair. We're collecting kindling in the form of fresh ideas, images, and inspiration that spark creativity and pique curiosity, all to light a fire under our collective asses to make things like this podcast.
Yeah, the 4th season of this podcast that lasted a very respectable 6 months.
Woo!
Yeah,
very
woo.
respectable season 4.
Come on.
Well done. Every episode, we reach into our Spark Files and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we talk to some folks who spark us too.
That means we have so many more sparks than we can possibly use in this lifetime.
So please, dear friends, if something lights you up, we beg you, take that thing and make something out of it.
But without further ado, let's open up
The
Spark File, little baby Camion. Baby Camion. Guess what today is, Laura Camion?
Today is the season finale of season 4 of the Spark File podcast. Is there anything else in the world going on besides that? I couldn't even finish that sentence.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Congratulations, friend.
Can you believe it? Of all the shockers, that's got to be real high on the list.
There's a thing that you have talked about before, pod fade.
Yes.
Where most podcasts dwindle out after the...
I'm going to get these stats wrong, but I believe it is...
Some hard-hitting, inaccurate journalism. Here we go.
Quick. Grab something to write with and something to write on. You're going to want to get this down. It is...
Fact check it.
I think there's a certain enormous percentage that don't make it further than like 3 episodes.
Oh.
But majority, like there's 80% of podcasts that do not last more than 3 months.
Oh, well, look at us chugging along. Do you know how many episodes of this podcast we've recorded? According to Apple, 177.
177 episodes. This is 178, baby.
Baby!
I think we're warming up.
We're just getting the hang of it.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
You know what I thought would be fun? I think we did this last season.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before I launch, any sparkles, sparklets, sparklinis?
I have some thoughts, but I also have some thoughts of when I might say them to you. So that time is not now.
All right. Can I share one with you?
Yes.
Did I just ruin my surprise party? I have mentioned, I think maybe on the last episode of this podcast, about this grove of trees that somebody planted around their house in their front yard.
Yes.
That is all shades. It goes from like the darkest maroon blossoms all the way to little light pink cherry blossoms.
Like a crepe myrtle to a cherry blossom.
And everything in between.
Oh my gosh.
And today, it blooms for like 1 week each year. And today is the day. And it is stunning. It's so stunning. And you can also hear that with everything in full bloom, my allergies are also in full bloom. That's not the spark. The spark is the grove of trees, which I am convinced I would love to go knock on the door of that house and be like, I come in peace. Can you please tell me the story of how this happened?
Yeah.
Maybe I should put a note in their mailbox.
I was just going to say, maybe you could put a note in their mailbox that is just inquiring, like, would they be open to a visitor walking the groves or a little conversation about the history?
What a long game that is, to plant an orchard of trees that will not come to maturity until probably you're gone. Because they're mature. Those trees are all mature. And they look like they were at one time much smaller. And so the distance between them probably seemed much, much greater.
Yeah.
And now you can't see the house. It is enveloped in pink blossoms.
Oh, how
it's
beautiful.
God, I love it.
You know, I'm obsessed with the idea of like, who are these incredible people who planted these trees they would never benefit from the planting of.
Long game spark. Yeah.
They would never see. We had some of those trees on our property in Florida, and I miss them very, very much. But these old oak trees that were like 70, 80 years old.
Anyway, tiny sparkleini follow-up.
Beautiful.
I thought it would be fun if we did what we did last season, which is we could just do a little recap where each of us shares our favorite sparks from this past season that you sparked me with and that I sparked you with, and vice versa. What do you think?
Suze, I think that's a great idea. So we're doing top spark that I did, top spark that you did.
Yeah, like one right? that you did that you loved, one that I did that you loved, making a big assumption with that, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll trade off, but you get to go first, however you want to.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I'm basing my choice on some thoughts that linger with me. I'm not going to lie to you listeners. There are sometimes I'll write a spark about something and then I'll be talking to someone 3 months later and they're like, it's like that spark you wrote. And I'm like, huh? What is that?
Huh?
Where'd you get that? Oh, I said that? Oh, really? I did that research? I don't recall it.
I'm a genius.
And that just says more about my short-term memory. But there are some that really stay with me and I keep thinking about it and I'm like, oh, there's more I could have said. There's stuff I could add.
Yes.
And there's one that I did this season called Artists and Athletes. And I loved writing it. I spoke at length with Deaton Bell, who's not only a dear friend, but one of our Illumineers in the Spark File and Emmy award-winning sports content producer.
So many Emmys. That kid.
He's incredible. And anyway, we had this long conversation about it and just swapping stories. And so one, the preparation of it was super fun. But two, I've just continued to roll around in my mind these concepts like, you know, in sports and professional sports, no one questions having a coach, having a team. In fact, if you're on a team and someone has a bad attitude about the game or the team vibe overall, like they would get spoken to. They would not be on good terms with everyone. And yet as artists, like we're often surrounded by people who don't have the greatest attitude, who have been wounded or hurt themselves by their attempts at creativity, and are more than happy to pass on those kind of negative and limiting belief systems. And it just wouldn't with athletes, no way. No, like don't get your limiting belief around me.
Yeah.
I've got things to do and I can see what I want to accomplish. And if you're on my team, it's our job to see, like, how am I going to do that? Not list all the ways, you probably won't, but to actually visualize how we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. This is really top of mind now because the NBA playoffs are happening. And Sweet Wesley Day has been a LeBron James fan. I know this is, Suze, I failed to prepare you for the fact that I'm about to say one of the most controversial statements on the Sparkfall podcast that we've ever said. I'll probably get hate mail for this because people really, really do love or hate LeBron James.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought people
yes.
just loved LeBron James. There are people that don't like LeBron James.
Suze, we're living in a world where just because so many people love something, there's going to be a contingent of people who are like, I don't love that. Yes.
Oppositional defiance.
Absolutely. So there's that. But I mean, they may have other reasons why they don't like him. But in our house, we're big LeBron fans. He might go by LeBrie, LeBlock, LeBron, LeBro, whatever. You just put La in front of it and we know who we're talking about. So Wes loves watching the full season of basketball. And I, being a busy person who enjoys sports but can't dedicate myself to the watching of them, I have said to him very early in our relationship, like, look, I can do the playoffs. And maybe even a few weeks leading up to the playoffs, I can get excited about it. And then I'm right there with you, full participation. But it's like their season is like 100 and some games. It's just too much. It's going to start again in a few months. So we are in the midst of watching the NBA playoffs. So the artists and athletes is very top of mind for me as I watch people fail, as I watch people again, they take their shot, a big shot, a game-ending shot that's either going to win or lose. They take it, and if they don't make it, they have to get immediately back on the horse. Yes. Like there is no time to be like, oh man, let me think about how I fucked that up.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going. And first of all, I'm fascinated by that. And then the other day, the Milwaukee Bucks were knocked out in a playoff game. Like it was the series ending game, and they did not win it. And one of their major players, his last name is Antetokounmpo. He had a press conference.
Oh my gosh. I thought you might be saying this. I was going to spark you with this, and here you're sparking us with this.
I'm sparking you with this.
I cannot believe I bookmarked this in my Spark file. I'm so stoked that you're going to share this.
This press conference where, they just lost they made it to the playoffs. They got knocked out in the first round. And one of the journalists asks him, like, so do you think this season was a failure? And he kind of goes on a rant that I respect so much, and I know you do too.
I would call it more like a TED Talk. I was like, this is a
it was like sit down,
like
son.
a 2-minute masterclass in how you define failure. And I love that he used it as a learning opportunity for the journalist, and therefore by proxy for everyone.
And everyone else. That's right.
So good.
And basically he turned it on the journalist and was like, I assume you work every year, you do your job, you hope for a promotion, you're trying to take care of yourself, take care of your family. If you didn't get a promotion this year, was the whole year a failure? Was the whole thing a failure? No. And just like our entire season was not a failure. Sometimes it's your day and you get to win, and sometimes it's not your day and you don't, but it's all incremental. And you keep, we're going to get back up tomorrow. We're going to start working towards next year.
Yeah.
I just loved it. Again, sometimes like we have so much to learn from athletes in regard to how they process a loss. And again, we said it before, but the frequency with which you do things helps, because yes, they lost last night. They're going to play again tomorrow night or the next night. They're going to get right back up and do it again. And so I think as artists and creatives, the more quickly we can say, oh, okay, that stung a little bit. And I'm back on it. I'm doing it again. I'm putting myself back out there. I'm changing something or trying something different and doing it again. Yeah, I just get fired up about that.
That's awesome.
That was one long ass answer.
I think one of my favorite sparks that I did was that Toni Morrison spark.
Yes.
And again, just what you said, there's some times when we're crafting these sparks where the preparation is so pleasurable because of who you get to talk to or what you get to read or what you get to watch. And that Toni Morrison spark is the spark that keeps on giving. I just finished listening to Beloved, the audiobook of Beloved, which she reads.
Yes.
And I just, every time I'm in one of her books, in the midst of it, everybody that I speak to, I'm just like, you got to get into this Toni Morrison on audio. Her voice is so, her voice reading her own words is so good.
Oof.
And I just, oh God. So that for me that, and I said it before, I'm saying it again now, you got to get into Toni Morrison reading her own work.
Amen. Amen.
That spark has legs, baby.
Thank you for that message, Susan. Message received. That's a goodie.
So good.
One that you did that has had legs and really stuck with me is the spark you did on AI and creativity and creatives, I think. And I think you may not be checking the messages from the Spark file to you, your personal Instagram, but whenever I'm on Instagram for the Spark file and I see something, there's a million things, Suze. Like they discovered that AI, you can ask it to do something, whatever a prompt is that might be like an administrative task, and it can use all the tools available to it. AI can mimic being a human and go on one of those Taskmaster sites and hire a human to do the task. And then I sent you another one. And this is something to think about with people as there's so much of our recorded voice out there.
Oh, yeah.
But a thing going around where there's a big scam where your family member is called and they use your voice to convince that family member that they either
you're in distress.
Like you were in a car accident, you need money right away, or they have you hostage and they can, quote unquote, put you on the phone and use this recorded manipulation of your recorded voice to make it sound like you are in fact there.
And keep you on the phone by saying, don't hang up, don't, really manipulate people. It's a conversation I was having with my sister because I think anybody who has enough of their voice out in the public domain, like podcasters,
exactly.
Your voice. Did I mention we've done 177 episodes? We have so much of our voice sample out in the world, and so it's a little bit scary.
Yeah. So I just keep sending, they're happening so fast and furious. I just keep sending them to you like, oh my God, now this. So that one was really, really sticky. And also I've tried, Chat GPT since that conversation and since the subsequent conversations about it have not trusted the answers that I've gotten from Chat GPT.
And I would like to just say that again. I feel like this sense of an unclosed loop, that some of the stuff that I shared in that episode, I relied on Chat GPT, and subsequently I think it created whole cloth and lied about certain anecdotes. I think that it's probably more accurate when it comes to sort of hard facts, but it seems like it takes some real talk about creative license. Like I think that AI is really, really questionable.
I tried using it, full disclosure, I tried using it when I did the Spark about the moth. And I was trying to recollect my own memory of like what we did when as Blue Man people and the Moth, we did a special event together, all described in that episode.
Yeah.
But I was
Yep.
like, now when was that? And I had ChatGPT open and I asked it to find it for me.
Yep.
And it was completely wrong. Everything
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yep. Yep.
That was not the theme of the night. That was not the date of the event. Those were not the speakers. Every bit of it was wrong. Yeah.
I think that AI is this is a real moment when it's just going to keep on keeping on. It's a little bit like the beginning of the internet. We're not going back from here, but it is filled with wild inaccuracies.
Well, and also, if a human can think it and do it, AI is being trained to be able to think it and do it. And so that means negative things can be done by AI, positive things can be done by AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, that one was sticky, Suze. That was very sticky.
That was a sticky one. I'll tell you what stuck for me, a spark that you did. So many good sparks this season.
Yeah.
The spark that just got me rolling, and I still think about it and I still refer to it, was the new rules.
Oh my God.
That fucking spark about like, yes to this, no to that. I still think about it every time. I was about to say, I saw a TikTok of this basketball player.
Yes.
And then I catch myself and I tried to pass it off like an article that I read.
Yes.
I loved that spark, Laura Cabian. It still delights me.
Oh, thank you. It's so fun because other people have said too, I think I said there was like 178 new rules and we only went over maybe 30 of them. And we had people say like, I want the rest of them. Like I could talk, about all of these ridiculous rules. We almost went back and did a follow-up on that.
So fucking funny. God damn, that made me laugh. That gave me the giggles.
That's good stuff. Thank you, New York Magazine.
It's a good spark when it gets you get those church giggles. So that's what happened on the pod. IRL, in real life, we launched Ignite, which is our 8-session creativity jumpstart. That's started. It is an amazing, amazing cohort of people.
Every time we launch a cohort, I pinch myself of like, look at these incredible human beings, fantastic artists with beautiful souls, like really, really good people with extraordinary talents. And I just pinch myself that we get to spend time with and work with so many people. And it's so fun for us to then discover like the relationships and friendships and collaborations and all of it that's forming among them. I forgot, I didn't tell you this. So Suze, in our creativity labs on Tuesday, we have different breakout rooms, and there's a room where you can go and just get your work done. That's called the quiet car.
Right.
And there's a room where you can, anyone who wants to speak things aloud, like sing a song that they're working on, do 5 minutes of a stand-up they're working on, read pages, etc. And we call that one the cabaret car. And one of our sweet Courtney, it was her first time in the lab. She texted me and was like, "What an amazing! I loved the cabaret car."
Aww.
And I texted back. I was like, "Oh, did you see some amazing shares?" And she wrote, "No, not at all. There was just 3 like newbies in there at first." And we went in there to be an audience for the shares, but right at the top, there weren't any shares. And she said, we just got to talking about our creative goals and our passions, our pursuits. And we renamed it the bar car, which was very funny.
That's what I'm talking about. That's awesome.
But then people did come in and share as well. So they were joined in that, but I just had a laugh.
That's a great use of the cabaret car.
Yes.
To talk out loud, to discuss what you're making.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that, Courtney. Thank you for sharing that, Laura.
Yeah. Super, super fun.
I failed to tell you, speaking of relationships, I was watching at regular intervals during the course of SparkFile courses, people do creativity shares, which can take many forms, but it's essentially them sharing a piece of whatever their big creative goal is, and then they can ask for the feedback they need to advance them to the next level with their project. And I was watching creativity shares today. I was watching a replay of the video,
Yeah.
and one of our folks, Will Murdoch, shared this beautiful piece of a novel that he's writing. It is delicious. And in the feedback, Seth Marquette, another wonderful, wonderful Sparkfile community member,
Yes.
said, to the group, some of whom have been there longer than others, he said, Will and I have been friends for a long time. So ... And I was like, I'm pretty sure you met in the Spark File. So, but I think they met in the Spark File, and we've been doing it long enough that they can have been friends for a long time.
Oh my God.
Unless they went to kindergarten together and I don't know about it.
And we just don't know it.
I don't think so.
Wow.
We do have people that are like, we know each other from high school
Right.
in Alaska. We have some of that. That
We
happens
do.
sometimes.
We do.
But I think I have to double check. But it just made me so happy because I was like, I love that people in the Spark File could say we've been friends for a long time.
Friends for a long time. That's really special.
Isn't that nice? Come on.
Oh man, we're really sentimental today.
Well, it's because it's the finale.
I know. We're softies. We're big softies.
Ignite. They're beautiful. They're kicking ass.
Amazing.
Blazers 6-month program. They are in the midst of these creativity shares, and it is a thing of beauty. And same with our Illume mastermind group. This is a year-long program, and they're getting into these like 40-minute, 60-minute long-form creativity shares where we're like going deep. So we had a conversation. It was actually inspired by them, this concept of taking their projects from good to great.
Yes.
Like now they're in it deeply. And how do you get from like, this is rock solid to something that is transcendent or cathartic for people? So that everybody's doing really, really well. If any of this sounds interesting to you, the next time the doors will open will be in the fall of 2023.
That's right. That's right.
So you can catch us then. But if you want to make sure that you know what's what, you can join our email list at thesparkfile.com and let us know you're interested, and we can keep you posted.
We'll totally keep you posted.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good idea to tell people that, Suze. Well done.
Listen, it's going to be a minute, but it'll be here before you know it. Right now, it's spring. The pink grove is blossoming. Before you know it, it's going to be bikini weather.
Yes.
And then before you know it, it's going to be fall again.
True. You speak the truth.
Right now, the buds are on the trees, but before you know it, you can join us in the Spark File if you are so moved.
Oh, friends. I feel a little like I feel nostalgic already for season 4. This has been our season 4 of the Sparkfile podcast.
This has been our season 4. Can you believe it, Laura Camion? Congratulations.
I thank you. Congrats to you too, Suze. We did it, and we're not stopping. We'll be back for season 5 too.
We'll be back for season 5. But in the meantime, keep creating.
That's right. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going and going and going.
And none of it is failure. None of it is failure.
That is right.
We succeed incrementally. Keep going.
It's all progress. Friends, I guess that's it. This episode of the Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape people, which is in full bloom. And as always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. If there's a spark you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how to coach with us to bring your creative ideas to life, you can email us at thesparkfile@gmail.com. You can submit through our website, thesparkfile.com.
Oh my God, you can even send us feedback. You know that. But there is a price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you have taken recently.
You can follow us on social at The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast. It really helps other listeners to find us. Also, if you liked this podcast, we hope that you'll share it with people that you love. And if you didn't like it, Again, I don't know what to tell you. We are 4 seasons
We're 4
in,
seasons in.
177 episodes.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like it,
we're still going to keep going.
we're still going to keep going.
Yeah, we really
We're
are.
still going to keep going.
That's tough news to hear, but we are going to keep going. So
Sorry.
if something lights you up and gets your creative sparks flying, we are writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that has been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You know, you got to take it
and make it.
Congratulations.
Bye, friends. Congrats, Suze.
Thanks
We'll
for
see you
listening,
soon.
listeners. We adore you.
We really do.
We're thankful for you. Bye.
Oh, gosh. Bye.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I wanna make or how I wanna be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the chief creative officer and chief marketing officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.